All right, and welcome back to a very special Conquest Corner because we have something new to unbox. I just received these. Two Rakshasa sacks. I'm building one of each. So as is both the Boxora as well as the Ravenar. So I have the other box. It's sitting over there in a taped up box. But wanted to go through this. I also have a box at Djinn. So we're going to go through those, just take a look at it and discuss a little bit about it briefly. The plan is to assemble all this stuff for Sunday, actually. I was playing today, and I wanted this together for my list on Sunday. So obviously, whichever one it is the one that they're going to highlight. And they do talk about the various different heads. It does mention includes 3 alternate heads. I have to see exactly what that looks like. I don't know if I like that one. Probably stick with this one for this one, but we'll see. So let's open this bad boy up and see what they got. All right. All right, so we are looking at, looks like a total of 4 sprues here. Now, I will say for anyone who is getting this kit and assembling it, be aware that Parabellum Games did post up everywhere that there is a change to a little bit of the instructions. I believe it is the way the front chest and the back meet, but they do tell you about that, so you do want to take a look. Actually, if we grab the instructions, we could probably talk about the part that's different. Is that? Okay, that's why it opens up this way. Yeah, it's instruction 7. That one, I believe it's that one. They show it a little bit different. So, it might be 7 on either one, but essentially that spot they do mention is a little bit different. I know they talked about it's for the way for the arms to go, so just be aware of that. All right. So, looking at just instruction-wise, it looks like it has a decent number of pieces. Are the fire bits actually different? So here it's 49 to 51, 49 to 51, then the higher things, 52, 53, 50, right, left sides. Okay, so it's the same exact fire on both of them is what we should see. Sorry, my desk is full of paints, that's why paint rolled off. Yep, good. So it has both the cards, of course. So we see we have the art for each of these. Loving the Ravarnas art there. I'm kind of not looking forward to painting faux fur. It can be done. I just find it a little bit laborious, but that's okay. So we say the Boxora's giant swords. We have those 4 there. What else do we see? Looks like the piece for behind the Vavarna's head. Legs, parts of the different fire that they have. Oh yeah, you can see the chest. I don't know if it's clear, has the A in it. A. So are some of these B then? Must be, yeah. Probably for the other parts of the body. Well, for the other one, I bet. Probably does. Oh yeah, because there's a difference there. Because if we take a look at this one, we see it's the different chest. So we have, although it should actually be the same chest, I should say. Yeah, 64. So there's the front chest of these. Back end of the legs. Skirt that, or I'm sure there's a better name for it, essentially. The piece that goes around him. So it doesn't look like too many pieces to put together. It should be a pretty easy to put together kit for this thing. Big old weapon. Very excited to actually put this thing together, or put together both of them. See, one, not only how they go together, but also be able to start varying out the list. I've played about 6 or 7 times so far now with essentially base set stuff. It would be nice to be able to actually vary it up a little bit and try something a little bit different. Also to be able to add in, to some extent, what this list is going to need to deal with, the heaviness and completeness that other people are able to run. Okay. I wonder if they did this right, then this one hopefully is all Boxora. That's probably not true, but maybe. It might be, what I would hope, 2-body Boxora Ravarna. But we'll see for sure. And obviously, like I said, I didn't even know it's a big old base. So, giant monster. I'm curious when I put it together. I'm going to be putting it together tomorrow, so maybe I'll put something up once I do. I'm curious to see exactly how tall it actually is when we actually assemble this sort of thing. It's kind of hard to gauge for sure. You can see about the lengths of the legs. And the length of the torso is almost the same, but I'm kind of curious Is it actually like this tall, or exactly how big is this thing? Doesn't look like there's actually too many pieces to put together, which is pretty good. And for differences, most is the same right until you get to... Really, it seems like it's all the same really until you get to arms. Fire goes on last, but yeah, I think it's all essentially the same until you actually get to the arm pieces, it looks like, other than maybe a little bit of something fancy on the body itself. But otherwise, it looks to be very much the same. I would absolutely dry fit these arms first. Make sure that they're working the way they're supposed to. You want to make sure you don't make an issue or any sort of error. Especially, as I said, I know they talked about how some of the instructions were a little bit off. Like, it's just that one spot, but... Okay. Yeah, they only put it as like 28 steps. That's actually not so many. Oh, okay. They do show us a little bit of the different heads. I was curious what those would be. So it's the demon head, the one that we see on the one, and then the sort of lion itself. I don't know if I kind of like the ones that they showed. I don't know if I want the demon head. I don't know if I'm going to use it at all, honestly. Yeah, no, it'll probably just sit there. There's part of its demon face. Actually, pretty big horns on this guy, too. So, other one we see here. Third one is kind of scattered about. At least that I can see. I see parts of him there and part of him there. Just don't see the front face. The front face, if my predictions were correct, the front of the face should be here. Yep, there it is. There's the front of his face. So they did actually kind of do it that way. All right, but that's what we have for this one. I also have the Djinn, so why don't I swap out? I'll grab them. That's fine. As always, it's a dual kit, so it doesn't matter really what the front of the box shows. You do get both of them in there. It is somewhat total of 2 sprues. Very flowy, although I didn't notice. I'll take a look at it. Yeah, this one actually does have some gaps in him, so it's not quite as filled out. And we see here that it is absolutely not quite as filled out. A lot of flowing. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we have our bows off to the side. 1 bow, 2 of the other weapons. Essentially some of their hair. This is what they have for their hair on some of them. They're big old glaives. 2 are two-handed, 1 is one-handed. This is the one-handed glaive. Actually, hard to see then, because they all kind of have the same sort of look. All right, the other hands, I wasn't sure. The other hands just must go right over the top of it. There's not actually molded on. I thought it might be an extra connection for some of the hands, but it's not. It's actually just going to end up being one. But so I haven't decided exactly how I want to put these. Let's take a look at the cards. It's fine. I like some of the other art better. This is a little too cartoonish for me personally. This one I enjoy, but this one's just a little too over the top. Let me take a look at how they actually say to assemble these. I bet this opens up the same way. Yeah, of course it does. So we got, yep, tails in either. Oh, okay. So this side tells us how to deal with them if you are making them windborne. Cape looks like it's going to be a little bit of a pain to kind of put on in the 2 different spots to make sure it holds actually well. Actually, in general, that sort of caped off part is going to be a little bit tough. And, oh no, this one, you can see it has a hand on it. Must have missed that one. The other one, no, actually they both look like they have hands on them. At least the way they put it. So did I just miss a little hand? Yep, there it is. So it does actually have its little bit of a hand right there. So yeah, that's one. Here's the other one. You see the hand back here. And then the third one here, which is only on the single arm, which is the one that's holding essentially straight down behind it. The other 2, it's holding them down as well. So ended up getting 2 boxes of these. I think I'm going to run them as Windborns. They're Steelheart. mostly because I feel that that's something this list needs. I want the longer range. I want to be able to start being a threat to someone outside of the 14. And the AP one helps as well. And I have the 2 Rakshasa to be able to be my things with like cleave and all of that for once I get into combat. So I'm not too worried about the steel heart and what they add, especially for the moment, since other than the steel heart, everything else is fire based. I'm not trying to run a whole bunch of non-fire things. So for Friday, I already put together another list. Runs both Rakshasa. Does not run the steel heart yet. So I want to test out what I have, and then I'm going to incorporate them afterwards, because I have to kind of figure out how do I want to do spells and my Kadu Kavach, so that way I get good bonuses once I start having another school. Don't like that head. Didn't notice it before. I'm not a big fan of it. It's a little over the top for me. The covered one is amazing, though. Absolutely love that. All right, well, that gives the absolute brand newest releases. Like I said, I'm going to be putting these together. I will be playing a game on Sunday with them. Probably not able to record that one, but maybe within the next week do one. We did record a game last week. However, for some reason, the audio that Steve had just wasn't working. The microphone was working at first. We were working at a different store, and it worked for our opening. And then when we walked to the table, so about 5-foot step, cut off. I don't know why. We're going to try it again in the near future, but unfortunately, it's been nothing but a comedy of errors for everything that we've tried to do lately related to that. So you should see, if not us, something else game-wise coming out pretty soon. My hope is maybe Sunday or Monday to record another game. If not, because I'm just about in finals, once those are over, my schedule gets a lot better. So that is the unboxing for all this. Let me know if you ended up picking up any of these things. What has the April time Santa here brought to you? And if it's not anything for this, if it's not one of the brand newest releases, which remember, we can save you 10% if you use our discount code Terrain Kickers when you check out from their web store. But if it's any other factions, if you're getting into something, let us know. I had to say, one of the best things is listening and hearing that people are like, hey, watch some of your stuff, picking up the game. Here's the faction I'm going with. Here's what I decided. We actually just had one local player tonight pick up a Dweck starter box, and we had another local player who's going to probably buy some Nords off of me that I decided not to go along with. Oh, sorry, not Nords. City-state stuff that I have as extras just kind of sitting around. And I told him, like, yeah, I'll sell you some of the stuff for cheap because I'd like to just see more people in this game. So at least in our area, it's growing. Hopefully in your areas, it is well. Let us know what you think. Let us know how your communities are going. All right, so this is a quick addendum to the video you were just watching, because this is now the next day, and I've actually assembled one of these guys, because I talked about, I wonder how big he is, everything like that, so I put him together. So, a few things I want to say. This guy is huge. Here's a normal Rakshasa next to him. Obviously, we know he's big, but he's, I would say, my Fallen Divinity's upstairs, but he's probably equal in height, but he's definitely wider, because he has these 2 swords sticking out to the side. That is going to make it, the word fun to transport is probably not the right terminology, but that's going to make it a little bit tough. But this boy takes up a whole lot of space. I did decide to go with the sort of horned head. I wanted something just a little bit different, so I decided that. It does go together quite well. For anyone who is assembling this model, be aware, there's a lot of what look to be very bad mold lines, but most of them are covered. So there's still some spots that are a little bit rough along the legs and stuff like that. For that, few either tricks you can do to kind of clean that up. One, if you happen to make sprue goo, you can use that. Sprue goo is essentially you just take plastic glue, you put sprue in it, and literally let it melt. You get the right consistency, and essentially it's liquid plastic. The other option, if you don't want to do that, the other thing that I will do actually at times, either when it's still just glued, I'll put a little extra glue when I do it, or on something like this, I'll put a little bit, just a tiny bit along the seam. And I'll literally just take a knife and just run across that seam. Because what's going to happen when your knife scrapes it, you're going to naturally scrape up a little bit of it. It'll mix with the glue, and then it kind of fills in the gap. So that's something I do either if I don't have any glue on hand, or haven't made any in a bit, or if I do need to fix up these little bits. I'll use some spots because sometimes if you do goo, it can be a little bit tough to use. I find that this will actually clean it up enough. It's not always perfect. You can do it so it melts perfectly. I do actually have some plaster putty that I use to fill in. But I do a little bit of that, and that cleans it up. But overall, honestly, the model went together quite nice. Some bits were a little bit tough. The arms, like I mentioned before, there's something you have to be careful about. What they updated was, depending on which one you're doing, the back is actually different. So if you're doing this one, the Boxora, the back piece that you end up wanting to use is 44. Whereas if you're doing the Ravarna, the back piece you want to use is 24. The reason it matters, the way these arms actually go onto this guy, it's very particular. So the arms are different on the other one because obviously it's like the chain put together and all that, so the positions are different. The arms just fit on, so be very careful with that sort of thing. There's also a little bit of like a gap there I got to fill, but again, I can do the same sort of trick to fill that in a little bit. But overall, went together quite nice. Arms held on a lot nicer than I thought. I didn't have to, I was a little bit worried about positioning and all, but actually fit on very perfectly. The body to the leg connection's a little bit tough. Put everything around, put them on. Actually, what I did is this front piece to him is actually two parts. There's most of this, and then this piece is separate. What I did essentially is I glued this onto his chest first. Then I tried to attach his body because that helped me get the right angle. Otherwise, it's when you're putting it on, you don't feel the good angle is the problem. So you'll kind of place it there, but you don't feel that sort of lock in place like you will with like the way the arms go on, everything like that. So I found I put this on, I let it get pretty tacky first, and then I repositioned, and that gave me the right angle that I needed. Then I could quickly attach this to make sure that I had the exact right positioning. Because it might be a little bit hard to see with the camera, but it fits perfectly there. There's a little bit of a connection there to another part that's low chest, high leg, and all. So you can use that to help guide you, and that makes the back go on quite well, or the whole upper torso. But this guy's absolutely huge. I'm now going to be working on the other one, some Djinns, and I will be using at least the two big boys tomorrow. I don't think I'm using the Djinns tomorrow, just because I don't know if I'm getting them all done, because I want to start getting some more spray onto these guys. But that now actually ends this video officially. You'll be seeing some more Conquest stuff coming up, and as always, has a good hobbying is a great gaming.